Hello guys, this is your friend Dark Fox Sage. And we are back with our new fanfic, which is, what if Naruto learns about his secret bloodline and that his parents are alive and they left him? Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then subscribe to the channel and like the video, it motivates me to upload more fanfics like these for you all. Now let's start the fanfic. Konohagakure. The village of Konohagakure was like any ordinary village. Villagers, merchants, farmers, ninjas, giant frogs. Okay, maybe it's not like any other ordinary village. Konohagakure is one of the 5 great ninja villages, though there are other hidden villages, none of them are considered as great as these. In these villages, ninjas, weapons, and chakra-based techniques are common. However, Konohagakure has one thing that isn't as common, a Jinchuriki. In a dark alley, inside of Konohagakure, lay a boy. Silent tears ran from his dead blue eyes. His normally spiky blonde hair was matted down with blood. Odd whisker marks adorned his face, 3 on each cheek. His clothes are ripped and torn, also stained with the red lifeblood. This was the 3rd time this week that he was in this position, and it was only Tuesday. He started to lift himself off the ground, a smile adorned his face, an odd chuckle came from his mouth. He rose himself up off the ground, and limped back to his small apartment. He would be late for class, but why would he care? No one else ever did. Naruto's apartment. Naruto reached his apartment and looked around with a sigh, the smile still on his face. It was a mess. Broken pieces of wood were everywhere. The carpet was stained with blood, as were the walls. Blood wasn't the only thing that stained the walls though. Black paint covered the normally white walls. There were a number of things on these walls ranging from and to. Die Fox. Demon bastard. You will burn. Paper was also glued to the wall, in an odd and unorganized manner, as if the person who placed it there wanted to make the apartment look worse than what it already did look like. The papers read, How to Kill a Demon Fox. Then drawings, with a blonde blue-eyed boy as the focal point, having a fox tail, fox ears, and whisker marks, showing off gruesome ways of, just fully executing, the fox child. Some ranging to burning at the stake, beheading, and disembowelment. The blonde shrugged and extended his senses. He sensed no one inside of his apartment. Though he didn't know why he bothered doing this, the ones who had the courage to attack his apartment would be beyond his abilities to sense. Naruto shrugged and went to the bathroom. He undressed and used the sink to wash his hair and face. After he finished, he once again extended his senses. He shrugged and went to his bed. It was nothing but a torn up, burned mattress. He pushed it aside and found the sheet that was under it. He pulled out the sheet and wrestled with the floorboard. He lifted it up and reached inside. He found something that seemed to create a small spark in his eyes, though it left just as quickly. He pulled it out. What he pulled out was a wakizashi. The blade had a light blue sheath, with a silver dragon on it. The hilt was black and silver. He slightly unsheathed the wakizashi to reveal a silver blade and very sharp edge. He mused the thought of taking it with him today, but quickly discarded the thought. Maybe I should learn how to use this, he said to himself. He placed the blade back into its sheath and back into the hidden compartment. He reached back into the hidden compartment and pulled out a set of his normal outfit. Long orange pants, a black long-sleeve shirt, an orange jacket, with the sleeves cut at the shoulder. Finally, blue ninja sandals. He looked back into the compartment to see a pair of broken blue goggles. He sighed when he saw them, though the smile that he had since he got up from the alley had not left his face. His sleeveless jacket was left unzipped, showing his black shirt. He put back the floorboard and recovered the area. The blonde turned and ran out the door, not even bothering to lock the door on his way out. Ninja Academy. Naruto walked into the Ninja Academy. You're late, Naruto, screamed his teacher. Most of the students were looking at him with a snicker. Naruto shrugged and went to his seat near the back of the class. Iruka frowned at the grinning blonde. He noticed the limp, he noticed the bruises on his face, he even noticed the faint scent of blood. Naruto, Iruka sighed but broke out of his reverie. Today is the Genin exam. This year's exam will be the Bunshin no Jutsu doppelganger technique. Naruto mentally frowned. My worst jutsu, oh well, who cares whether I pass or not? I will be calling you to the back room where we'll have the exam privately. About an hour later, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto got up and made his way to the back room, ignoring the whispers he was receiving. Good luck, Dobi. Someone snickered. Just give up now, dead last. Why do you even bother? This is your third attempt. Naruto ignored all the words. He just made his way to the back of the room. Back room. Naruto stood in front of his Iruka sensei and Mizuki sensei. Okay Naruto, when you're ready. Naruto, still with his eerie smile, did the necessary hand seals. Bunshin no Jutsu. In a poof of smoke, Naruto materialized a dead-looking clone. Iruka sighed, you fail Naruto. Naruto shrugged and left. Iruka was upset, so upset he missed the smirk on Mizuki's face. About an hour later, parents had come to congratulate their children. Naruto sat alone on a swing, still smiling. Suddenly he felt a hand on his back. He turned to see Mizuki standing behind him. Hey, I'd like to talk to you for a second Naruto. Around 11 p.m., Naruto was running through the village, jumping from building to building. He was lucky that no one noticed the large scroll on his back. He thought back to what Mizuki had said. Flashback. Naruto, there is a way that you can still become a genin. This slightly caught Naruto's interest, so Mizuki continued. If you sneak into the cage's tower and steal the scroll of seals, you'll have a shot. You only have to learn one jutsu from that scroll and you can automatically pass. Naruto simply smiled. The only indication that he had heard Mizuki was the way he looked up towards the sky, as if he were in deep thought. Naruto shrugged. No thanks. Mizuki was shocked. What? Naruto shrugged again. I honestly don't really care. Mizuki seethed inside, but didn't let it show. He had to think of another plan. He smiled. Iruka will be disappointed. This caught Naruto's attention. He really wanted you to pass. You two are so alike, both being orphans and all. Naruto thought about it again. Iruka was always so friendly to him. He was one of the only people who cared about him. The second being the cage. Naruto sighed. Alright, I'll do it. Mizuki grinned at this turn of event. He looked at the boy, and like always resisted the urge to turn away in fear. That smile, that creepy eerie smile, always got to people. No matter what, Naruto never lost his wide foxy smile. I got to get the hell out of here. Okay, then, good luck Naruto. End flashback. Naruto sighed. Why was he doing this? He jumped off a building and dashed into the forest. He ran to a clearing in the forest. No one ever went that far into it, so he'll be safe there. Outside the cage tower, Hokage-sama. This time Naruto just went too far, screamed an angry shinobi. That's right. We should take this chance to kill the demon. The Hokage for his part didn't waver in his decision. He sent a wave of killer intent out. You will return Naruto here to me unharmed. I'll be the one to decide his punishment. Remember this. Thought his words were barely above a whisper. Everyone heard it. They felt a drop in temperature due to the ice in his voice. They nodded and disappeared to find the blonde kitsune. Naruto, I thought your pranking days were over. Curse you Arashi, how am I supposed to protect your son? Thought the aged cage with a sad look on his face. He turned to walk up the tower and find his crystal ball. Deep in the forest, Naruto opened the scroll next to an old shed and began reading. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique, don't see the point of learning another clone technique, can't even get the simpler one right. He kept reading through the scrolls. Mokuden Haijutsu. Jukai Koden would release secret technique, birth of dense woodland. Well I can't spend all day reading, this one looks interesting, wonder what the hell a Haijutsu is. Oh well probably not important. Naruto mused, not knowing that Haijutsu stood for secret technique, a technique only doable by those of a certain blood. He also didn't know that this technique was only usable by two men, one being the founder of Konohagakure. About an hour later, Iruka jumped into the clearing where he found Naruto. He saw that the boy was completely exhausted, the scroll of seals on the floor, rolled up. I found you now. Naruto merely looked at the man, still smiling. I did it. I learned a technique from the scroll, now I can pass right. Iruka stared at him with wide eyes. What the hell gave you that idea? That's when Iruka heard it. Several shuriken flying at the boy. Iruka jumped at Naruto and pushed him aside, taking the shurikens in his back. Iruka grunted in pain. He turned to see the smirking face of Mizuki. He was shocked. Mizuki-sensei, what are you doing? Naruto screamed out, his smile finally fading from his face. Mizuki glared at the boy. Shut up, brat. Naruto didn't even cringe though, something which angered Mizuki. Now Naruto, bring me the scroll. Iruka's eyes widened. It was you. You were the one who told Naruto that lie. Mizuki chuckled again. That's right. Why? For my own power, of course. Mizuki turned to Naruto. Now bring me the scroll. Iruka turned to the boy. Naruto. Run. I'll distract Mizuki. Mizuki laughed. Oh, stop messing around. You know you don't care about him. Iruka glared at Mizuki. Naruto, do you know why everyone treats you the way they do? Iruka's eyes widened. Stop, Mizuki. Didn't you ever wonder why they hurt you? Why they shunned you? Why they hated you for just being alive? Naruto, still smileless, asked, why? Don't. It's forbidden. The nine-tailed fox. The Kyuubi. It's inside of you. You are the nine-tailed fox. Mizuki said with a maniacal laugh. Naruto's eyes widened. It all makes sense now, he whispered. Naruto, run away. Why do you continue to lie, Iruka? We both know you hate him. Naruto, when you were the Kyuubi, you killed Iruka's parents, he always hated you. Stop lying, Mizuki. So, this is the truth. Naruto's face twisted into his same eerie smile. It all makes sense. Iruka and Mizuki both cringed at the sight of him. Naruto, run. Mizuki grabbed one of the large shuriken that was on his back. He threw it at the boy. Die, demon fox. Time seemed to slow down. Iruka just watched Naruto from his position on the ground. Naruto will move. He'll move. He'll move. Iruka's eyes widened and his heart stopped. Naruto lifted his chin, exposing his neck. Something flashed in Iruka's mind. Flashback. Iruka burst into the waiting room of the hospital. There, he found the Hokage and a few Anbu. Where's Naruto? What happened to him? Hokage sighed, and Anbu found him trying to hang himself. Iruka's eyes widened. It almost killed him. He was just starting to get close to the prankster, the boy that he used to hate, the one who reminded him of himself. End flashback. That was the 4 years ago. The day that Naruto lost his spirit. The day that his heart died. The people kept pushing him closer to the edge, and he finally broke. Iruka cursed himself in part. He could have done more for the boy. He laughed himself in front of Naruto, taking the giant shuriken with a sick stabbing noise. Some type of liquid hit Naruto's face. He didn't even grimace when he saw that it was some blood that Iruka spat up. His eyes widened though. Naruto, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for not being there. I'm sorry for not helping you more. I could have been there for you. You used to be just like me, the type that just wanted attention, but I let that part of you die, and I'm so sorry. Iruka managed to get out before he fell on the floor. Naruto snarled when he heard Mizuki laugh. He continued to smile though, as he walked past Iruka, towards Mizuki. If you ever touch my sensei again, I'll kill you. Try it, nine-tailed fox. Mizuki grabbed his other giant shuriken and threw it at the kitsune. Naruto started doing hand seals, his chakra flared. Mokuden Haijutsu. Jukai Koden. Suddenly a large root, the size of an anaconda, exploded from the ground, in front of Naruto. The shuriken that Mizuki threw was easily deflected. Mizuki was too stunned to move. He large root hit the Chunin in the gut, knocking the wind out of him. He was launched several feet back, being pushed with the root, and he was slammed into a tree. Naruto turned back to Iruka. Suddenly a few Anbu landed around Naruto. Naruto, what are you doing? Why did you steal the scroll? Naruto sighed, but it was Iruka who answered. It was because of Mizuki. One of the Anbu nodded. He looked at the root that was holding Mizuki in place. It was slowly descending back into the soil. Mizuki was let go and fell helplessly to the earth. Mokuden, did Naruto. He turned back to Naruto. The Hokage wants to see you. He turned back to his three companions. You three, take Iruka to the hospital and take Mizuki to Ibiki. The other Anbu nodded. The captain went and picked up the scroll. I'm sure the Hokage will want to see you, Naruto. Naruto nodded, and I want to see him to Yamato-san. Yamato nodded and grabbed the boy and performed a Shunshin no Jutsu, body flicker technique. Hokage Tower. Naruto and Yamato just arrived at the Cage Tower, in the Hokage's private offer. Yamato-san, while I speak to Naruto-kun, please go call of the search. Yamato nodded, yes Hokage-sama. But there is something that you should know, Yamato started, but the Hokage just held up his hand. I know about Naruto-kun's Mokuden ability. Yamato nodded and poofed out of the room. The Hokage looked at the smiling boy in front of him. Have a seat please. Gesturing to the seat in front of his desk. Naruto nodded and walked over to the seat. Mokuden skills? Pretty rare. Cut the bullshit. You know why I'm here. Naruto interrupted the Cage in a sing-song voice. The Cage slightly grimaced. Arashi. I'm so sorry. I couldn't protect him after all. Simply put, the Kyuubi couldn't be killed. The Yondaime. Was forced to seal him. They couldn't seal him inside of an inanimate object or a grown adult. He was forced to do so inside of a child. Naruto nodded in understanding. Why me? Sarutobi grimaced, knowing he was going to hate this part. Sarutobi nodded and went to hit safe, at the corner of his office. He opened it and pulled out 2 envelopes. He threw one to Naruto and set the other on his desk. Naruto opened it and read the letter inside of it. Dear Naruto, hello my son. I first want to say that I'm sorry. I know that I'm placing a heavy burden on you, being the jailer for one of the most powerful beings in existence. I know for a fact that you will never live a normal life. Please understand that I had little choice. Kyuubi is coming closer and closer to our beloved village. If I don't do something to stop him, we all would die. I know that in the end, that you would prefer me to seal him in your body, and you would like me to seal it in your sister's. Naruto's eyes widened. He looked up at the Cage for a second. I hope you're looking after her. She may just be 7 minutes you junior. But it still means that she is your little sister. You better be being a good big brother. If you haven't guessed yet, your old man is the Hokage. The 4th to be exact. Because of this I expect you to become much stronger than I was, and you better become stronger. Anyway, I just want to say I'm sorry. For everything that I'm most likely missing out on. Birthdays, graduations, the first time you held a kunai. The only thing that eases my mind is the fact that I'm leaving you in this village. I know that you'll be treated like the hero that you are. I hope they aren't spoiling too much. You better not be a brat. I'm sorry Naruto, but I can't write anymore. Kyuubi is coming closer and I have to leave or it will be too late. Remember that I love you so much. Your father, Arashi Kazama. P.S. Please don't become a pervert. Naruto felt something that he hadn't felt in a long time, or at least hadn't let it show through his face, anger. He quickly ripped the paper to shreds. The Hokage just watched with sympathy. Naruto slammed his hands on the desk. A hero. The son of the 4th. Why the hell didn't you tell me this before? Your father had a lot of enemies. It was best that your true name be kept secret. Uzumaki is actually the name of an ancient clan that died out a long time ago. Not many know of it, so I thought it the perfect surname. Naruto seethed. These bastards. Why don't they see me as a hero, like the fourth wanted? Sarutobi frowned. People have hard times dealing with their grief. Sometimes it turns into anger. In this case, it turned into anger against a child who in fact saved the village, maybe the world. Naruto was still seething. Why wasn't I told that I had a sister? Sarutobi frowned. The third handed him the other envelope. When he opened it, he noted that the letter had multiple tear stains on it. Dear Naruto, I want to say that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't begin to express my sorrow. Your father is a silly idealist. I, on the other hand, am a realist. I know that the people won't see you as anything but the Kyuubi incarnate. Arashi just condemned you to a life of hatred. But I didn't want to damn my other child to such a punishment. So I've decided to send her away. What you don't know about me is that I was the daughter of a lord of fire country. I'm hoping that under my father's and mother's care, she'll grow up to become a strong ninja. I'm hoping that you'll become strong too. You're probably wondering why I'm not there holding your hand through your whole ordeal. Because of the constant skirmishes with the Kyuubi. I wasn't receiving the best of care at the hospital. I contracted a deadly disease during childbirth that affects pregnant women. Unfortunately, at the time, the only woman who could help me was months away from Konohagakure. I made this decision at my last moments. I honestly don't know what else to tell you. I never thought that I'd be damning one of my own children to save another. I'm sorry, my dear Naruto. Your loving mother. Kazuna Ryu. Naruto just ripped the letter apart as well. Anger welling up in his eyes. She was supposed to come back this year, to become a genin. But she was held back by her grandfather. He wanted her to finish learning the Ryu clan's style of fighting before she left. Supposedly she'll come within a year. Naruto smiled and looked straight at the cage. I hate you. You know that, right? I hate you, my father, my mother, my sister, my grandparents, and this whole damn village. For all I care, you can all burn in hell. Sarutobi felt like he was hit in the heart by a rusty dagger. He thought for a long time. Naruto, I have a deal for you. Alright, see ya later, bro, said an excited Konohamaru as he ran off. Naruto just nodded in goodbye. Konohamaru had been bugging Naruto to teach him some ninja skills for a while, since morning when he punched Konohamaru, even though he was warned that the younger boy was the grandson of the third. Eventually Ebisu, Konohamaru's private trainer, came and tried to pull the boy away from the young kitsune. Something about the whole situation pissed Naruto off, so he showed off his new jutsu. Luckily, for Naruto, the trio was conveniently close to the hot springs, so Naruto used Mokuten Haijutsu, Jukai Koden, to launch the special trainer into the woman's side of the hot springs. The younger boys haven't heard from him since. Naruto sighed and walked back to his apartment. Whenever he received a hard glare, he returned it with his wide smile, which seemed to piss off the person who was glaring at him. When he returned to his apartment, he noticed something upon the dirty counter. He walked over to find two small scrolls. There was a sticky note on top that read, "To the new Mokuzemusha. From, wouldn't you like to know?" He sighed. It was the Hokage or it was Yamato. At the moment Naruto didn't really care. He opened the first. Mokuten. Shichuka no Jutsu, would release. 4 pillars house technique. The idea of a new jutsu interested Naruto, but the fact that it was a non-combat jutsu made Naruto less enthusiastic. He opened the other one. Bunshin no Jutsu. To say Naruto was pissed would be an understatement. It was just a clone technique scroll with dozens of notes over it. Naruto sighed but decided to worry about it later. He left to go to sleep. Early next morning, Naruto got up and got dressed in his usual outfit. He reached down to his secret compartment to pull out his newest treasure. Because of the complicated technique that he had learned during the Mizuki ordeal, the Hokage decided to promote Naruto to Chunin. He didn't just receive a brand new heat like all the other kids either, he received one that belonged to his Iruka sensei. Iruka had given it to him personally. It was now one of his greatest treasures. The second, and only other one, would be her Wakizashi, his very first friend. Flashback 6 years ago. Ah, monster. A chibi Naruto latched onto the Hokage, burying his face into the Hokage's robes, shaking in fear. They were currently at a festival in another village, in Fire Country. Sarutobi chuckled a little bit. It's not a monster, Naruto-kun, it's just an animal, it won't hurt you. Naruto looked up at the cage for a moment before turning back to the monster. It was a huge animal, large ears, and a huge nose. That's an elephant. The cage managed to pry the kitsune off of his before setting him on the ground. He then gave Naruto small nudges towards the great beast. Go on, get a little bit closer. Naruto surely but slowly started making his way to the animal. The Hokage, along with a few Anbu for protection, had taken Naruto to this place for his birthday. The third had been aware of the increasing abuse that Naruto would receive at this time of year. So here they were, a week before the actual day, hoping Naruto would have a happy birthday for once. Naruto inched closer and closer to the caged animal. Suddenly it lifted its head and blew air at its trunk, making a loud noise in the process. This seemed to make Naruto's fears go away. Wow! He started jumping up and down. He turned back to the old man. Did you see what he did? Did you see? Did you see? The aged Kage chuckled at the young boy's enthusiasm. When Konohamaru gets older, maybe I should bring him along. Naruto watched the animal for a while long before turning around and running back to the man. Unfortunately, he ran straight into someone. Both of them fell to the ground. When Naruto opened his eyes, he came face to face with a pair of crimson eyes. When he realized what happened, he immediately jumped up. Mistress. Naruto heard a man call, and saw several men running towards the girl. Said girl was still on the ground. Her long silver hair framed her face perfectly. She had on an elegant blue kimono. She was about the same age as Naruto. She looked at him with a bit of fear in her eyes. One of her arms was in front of her, in a defensive manner, whilst she seemed to have the other hand fingering an object behind her, a wakizashi with a black and silver hilt. End flashback. Naruto shook his head. Now was not the time for silly flashbacks. He tied the heat around his head and reached back into the compartment, pulling out the wakizashi. After thinking for a while, he opted to attach the blade to his belt, on the back. Afterwards he left, heading for the academy. Naruto sat down at his usual seat in the back of the room. He ignored the questions he was receiving, mostly things like, Dobi, what are you doing here? You didn't pass. When he received those questions, he merely pointed at his forehead protector, resisting the urge to flick these people off. Iruka came into the classroom sometime later, bandaged up. All right everybody, I'll be announcing the teams now. Your Junin senseis will pick you up after lunch. We'll begin with Team 1. 4 hours later, Naruto was resisting the urge to go berserk. Not only had he gotten on a team with the Uchiha and his number 1 fangirl, but their Junin sensei was officially over 2 hours late to pick them up. Sasuke was scowling, though, like Naruto, he was pissed. He'd never let it show openly. He had black hair and onyx eyes. His heat was wrapped around his head. He wore a blue shirt with the symbol of the Uchiha on it, and white shorts. Sakura, on the other hand, was at the door, looking down the halls to see if their sensei would show up. She wore her heat like a ribbon, to tie her long pink hair. He also wore a red ninja dress and black pants. Finally she went back to her seat and sat down, obviously tired of standing. About 10 minutes later their sensei arrived. Silver hair that seemed to defy gravity. A face mask. His heat covered his left eye. Other than that, he was dressed as an ordinary Junin. Yo. Sakura seethed. You're late. Kakashi was reading a little orange book, and seemed to be giggling. He looked up at his three students and said, "Meet me up on the roof." With that he poofed out of the classroom. The trio walked out of the room and to the roof. Roof. I wonder if Naruto can see his house from up there, The newly appointed Team 7 was currently sitting together on the roof. They waited for their sensei to speak. All right, you Pinky, he said, obviously pointing at Sakura. Give me your likes, dislikes, hobbies, and dreams for the future. Sakura looked confused. Sensei, could you go first, so I know exactly how it's done? Kakashi just stared for a second before nodding. My name is Kakashi Hatake. My likes and dislikes, dreams for the future, I have many hobbies. The teens scowled. Only learned your name, muttered Sakura indignantly. My name is Sakura Haruno. My likes. When she said that, she shifted her eyes to Sasuke and started giggling to herself. My hobbies. Once again her eyes shifted to Sasuke and she started giggling again. My dreams for the future. Once again her eyes turned to Sasuke and this time she started squealing. My dislikes are Ino Pig. Sasuke felt an odd shiver creep through his spine every time she giggled, especially that last giggle that sounded more like a squeal. Kakashi sighed. Now you, the mental one. My name is. There was a pause when Naruto and Sasuke both realized they were speaking at the same time, causing Kakashi to raise his eyebrow at the fact that neither of them complained about the name, but accepted it. I meant the brooding one, that would be Sasuke. Sasuke wasn't sure whether he should smirk, in triumph, for being the one that Kakashi was talking about, or for being insulted that he was the one Kakashi was talking about when he was labeled the mental one, but decided to speak anyway. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't have many likes and I dislike many things. My hobby is training. I don't have a dream for the future, it's more like an ambition. I want to kill a certain man and resurrect my clan. Sakura had stars in her eyes. Kakashi sighed. Again, now you, the eerily happy one. Naruto's smile, if possibly, became twice as wide. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like this village. I dislike anyone who would ever try to harm my beautiful village. My hobbies include spending time with all the wonderful people in Konohagakure. At this point he was standing up, pointing a finger to the sky. My goal is to become the greatest Hokage, so I can protect everyone. Sasuke and Sakura didn't catch it, but Kakashi was at the moment drowning in all the sarcasm that flooded out of Naruto's mouth. Shit. I knew I should have kept a closer eye on him. Arashi-sensei, why did you order Naruto to stay in the village? He would have led such a better life if he were allowed to leave, Kakashi thought to himself with sorrow. He shook himself out of his thoughts. So I have a fangirl, an avenger, and apathetic, giving Naruto the name of apathetic due to his ability to hide his feelings within his perpetual smile, which was at the moment creeping him out. Meet me in training field 19 at 7 a.m. tomorrow, and don't eat breakfast, or you'll throw up. Sakura beamed. Are we going to do training tomorrow, sensei? Kakashi's eyes turned into upside-down crescent moons. Something like that. It's more of a survival exam, to see if you have what it takes to become actual genins. Sakura frowned, but I thought we were already genins. To be honest with you, only about 1/3 of this year's crop will make it to actual genin. This exam is to weed out the losers. Kakashi stood up. Those who fail will be sent back to the academy. This caused a reaction from all the students. With that he poofed away in a puff of smoke. The three genin wannabes quickly filed out of the roof and went on their own way. Naruto's house. Naruto sighed when he got home. He didn't know what possessed him to lie when he was introducing himself. In truth his only dream was to achieve the rank of Chunin. Flashback. Naruto, you want to leave the village, don't you? Naruto merely nodded. I'll make you a deal. I have 2 students who were granted the right to leave the village whenever they want. I'll grant you the same right if you achieve the rank of Chunin. Naruto thought about it for a while. how do I know the village council will even give me the rank? Sarutobi shook his head. You don't need to worry about them, it will be the feudal lords of Fire Country, or whatever country you're in at the time, that will decide whether you deserve the rank. Naruto thought about this for a while, leaving the village, and never coming back. You will of course not attack or endanger the village or villagers while you're off traveling, unless you're only protecting yourself, and, should she not come to Hidden Leaf before you achieve Chunin rank, I'll tell you where you can find your sister. Naruto thought about it. The more he thought about it, the more he liked the idea. He'd have to fight for the village for a while, but it would only be a short time, hopefully. Naruto nodded. Sarutobi smiled, though he wanted to frown. Good, I'll prepare the paperwork and call you when it's ready. I'm also passing you, for learning such a jutsu. Naruto nodded and left his office. Sarutobi sighed and pulled out a bottle of sake. This should have gone better. End flashback. Naruto sighed and decided to start practicing the 2 jutsu scrolls he received. Naruto threw himself out of his bed. He was panting and covered with sweat. He took a few minutes to steady himself before reaching down and fingering his navel, the place where the beast was sealed. He sighed and looked at the clock. It was almost time to go. He got up and got dressed. As he was doing so, he nearly hurled at the sight of his orange jackets. Unfortunately, he couldn't buy anything else, no one would sell to him. He decided that cutting off the sleeves and the white collar would make the jacket look a little bit better, so that's what he did about a year ago. Once dressed, he picked up the same wakizashi and putting both on, and left. Training Field 19. Naruto arrived, wearing the same eerie smile, which was easily fueled by pissed of villagers, at the training field. He noticed Sasuke was already there. Neither really acknowledged the other. Naruto went to sit by a tree. Sasuke was leaning against another one. About 10 minutes later, right on time, Sakura showed up. Hey Sasuke, after training, would you like to go eat with me somewhere? No. Sakura, defeated, went to go sit down next to her own tree. The trio waited 3 hours before Kakashi decided to grace them with his presence. Yo! Ignoring the scream from Sakura, and avoiding the kunai thrown by the mental one, the one with the eerie smile, I'm glad you're enthusiastic to begin Naruto, but please wait till I explain the rules, he said with a careless smile. The blonde, however, had a smile on his face that would make most well-trained ninjas want to wet themselves, but not Kakashi. Okay, he said as he placed a timer on a stump and pulled out 2 bells. You have until noon to get a bell from me. Those who get a bell will be the ones who stay. Anyone who doesn't receive a bell will be sent back to the academy. Oh. And if you don't come at me with the intent to kill, you won't get the bell. He said in a nonchalant manner. The trio tensed at this revelation. Sakura was the one that spoke. Wait. So only 2 of us will pass? Kakashi smiled. Of course not. Only 2 of you has the chance to pass. If none of you get a bell from me by the time the alarm rings, all of you go back to the academy. I might get separated from Sasuke-kun, thought a distressed Sakura. What the hell is the point of putting us in 3-man teams then? If they're just going to separate us. Damn it, I can't be sent back to the academy, not if I'm ever going to kill that man. Thought an irritated Sasuke. Sakura's eyes widened at this. Naruto looked odd. Wait, so this test is pretty much only weeding out the weaklings. Kakashi nodded. Naruto was stunned. Then, why? Naruto started to say, but voiced out his question in his head. Why the hell did they put us into teams? They could have just done this at the academy. Why would they waste the time in putting us in balanced teams? Kakashi noticed the blonde's confusion and grinned inside. Is he figuring it out? He decided to have some fun though. The clock is ticking. Naruto snapped out of his thoughts when Kakashi said this. The teens quickly jumped from the field and into the trees. Naruto noticed, from his hiding spot up in the trees, that Kakashi hadn't moved an inch. He decided to make the first move. Naruto jumped out of his hiding spot and into the field. Kakashi noticed him. You know, you're a little bit weird. Naruto smirked. You can't stop me. I'm going to become Hokage. Kakashi smiled and reached into his pockets. He pulled out his orange book and started reading. Go ahead. Naruto ran at the Kakashi, screaming his head off, fist raised ready to punch. Kakashi was only half watching Naruto for about a second when he noticed something odd. He looked up to see the blonde still running at him, -1 point for not jumping closer. He tried to figure out what was wrong. Whilst drowning out the blonde's yells, Kakashi's eyes suddenly widened. Footsteps. He doesn't have any footsteps. Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto jumped at Kakashi, the boy's body fading through the adults. Kakashi then saw what was behind the boy, a large root, coming straight at him. The large root slammed into Kakashi's chest and slammed him into a tree. Naruto smirked from his hiding place. However, when he saw Kakashi turn into a log, he seethed on the inside, didn't let it show in his face. Sasuke was surprised. When did that Dobi get that move? Kakashi stood somewhere in the trees. So I guess the rumors are true, he can use Mokuden Jutsu. He turned towards the log that got slammed by the root. That could have been painful. Good thing I used Kawarimi in time. Good distraction though, perfect execution. I'll give him back his point. Kakashi looked down and saw Sakura hiding in the bushes. Let's see just how good she is. Sakura was a little on edge. She just saw a giant root almost impale her sensei, and Naruto performed a bunshin. How could he have learned that technique? He just failed doing it a few days ago. Sakura, said a wounded voice. Sasuke-kun. Sakura quickly started crawling towards the voice. After she exited the bushes, she saw something that made her heart stop. Sasuke was there, impaled with kunai and shuriken. He was bleeding. Sakura-chan. Ah! Screamed the girl before passing out. Up in the trees, maybe that was a little too far. Oh well, can't do anything about it now. He jumped back into the clearing, book in hand. Suddenly he heard something coming from behind him. Shurikens. Kakashi quickly sidestepped them. However, the shuriken cut a string that was behind Kakashi, triggering a trap. A giant log was launched from the trees, going straight at the Chunin. He quickly sidestepped it as well. He turned around just in time to see Sasuke throw a punch, which was blocked. Sasuke then did a backflip, kicking Kakashi at the same time, which was also blocked. Using this opportunity, Sasuke made a grab for the bells. Kakashi quickly jumped back though. He's stronger than the others. If I try reading Ica Paradise, he may actually get a bell. Damn it. So close. Sasuke started doing hand seals. Kaden. Gokaku no Jutsu, fire release. Grand fireball technique. Sasuke breathed out a fireball, scorching the area that Kakashi was in. When he was finished, he noticed that where the Chunin stood, was a burnt log. Damn it. Suddenly a hand grabbed on of Sasuke's legs and pulled him under. He was pulled until he was buried up to his neck. Kakashi appeared before him. Naruto watched this from his hiding spot. I wonder. Kakashi walked away from Sasuke and jumped into the trees. The Uchiha seething. Suddenly Sakura ran into the training field. She immediately noticed Sasuke, or Sasuke's dismembered head. The head blinked a few times at the girl. Ah! From his spot in the forest, what the hell is she screaming about this time? About 30 minutes later Sasuke managed to dig himself out. Just in time for Sakura to wake up. Sasuke-kun, you're alright. I'm far from alright. I was so close to getting a bell. Damn it, Sasuke said as he jumped into the trees. Wait, Sasuke-kun. She was about to jump after him, when she spotted something shining in the corner. Is that a bell? He must have dropped it. Sakura ran to get the bell. However, she was suddenly raised high into the air, when her foot was caught in a rope. Ah! Sakura! If it's obviously a trap, don't pick anything up, Kakashi said with a bored expression, as he picked up the bell. He looked back up at Sakura. You must look underneath the underneath, he said. Unfortunately, he didn't notice what was underneath him. A sapling was making itself out of the ground from underneath him. It quickly started wrapping itself around his legs and pulled the Chunin under. How's that for looking underneath the underneath? Kakashi heard a certain fox boy say from the forest. Okay, it's all fun and games until someone starts ripping off my techniques. With that, Kakashi puffed away in smoke. A clone, thought a discouraged blonde. Suddenly the alarm rang. Damn it. The trio ran off, after Kakashi used a kunai to release Sakura from the trap. He quickly tied Sakura to a pole, ignoring Naruto muttering something about S&M pervert. I'm proud to say that none of you will be going back to the academy. The youngsters smiled at this. Instead, you're going to be dropped from the ninja program. What? Screamed Sakura. The other two looked about ready to scream, though you couldn't really tell with Naruto. You don't have what it takes to become ninja. Tell me, what is the point of being put in a three-man squad? Naruto answered, teamwork. Sasuke's eyes widened. The bells were meant to throw us off. Exactly. Sasuke, you think the other two will hold you back, so you don't bother working with them. Sakura, you're too busy worrying about Sasuke to think about anything else. And Naruto, you don't even care enough to ask your teammates to help. In the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their teammates are worse than scum. He went to a slab of stone on the ground. This stone contains the names of the ninja of Konohagakure, the ones that fell in battle. Kakashi lowered his head for a moment. I'm going to give you one last shot. You two can eat the lunches I brought, pointing to Sasuke and Naruto, but Sakura doesn't get any. If either of you feed her, you fail. I make the rules, remember that. With that, Kakashi disappeared. Naruto and Sasuke each opened a bento. They paused when they heard Sakura's stomach growl. They both sighed and held up the bento for her. What? She asked. Just eat something. We're going to need you to help, and you're going to need to be at full strength, Sasuke. Just need you to be at full strength, until we pass this exam, Naruto. Sakura started tearing up. Sasuke-kun, Naruto. Suddenly the three heard an explosion appear in front of them. What did I tell you? I told you not to feed her. Sasuke's eyes widened a bit, but he spoke first, with a smirk. Since we disobeyed your rules, it means that we are scum. Naruto spoke next, with his perpetual smile, but those who abandon their teammates are worse than scum. Sakura, still teary, found courage as her teammates spoke. We're a team. We help each other out. Lightning started flashing across the sky, and dark clouds started spreading, but just as quickly they all disappeared to reveal the sunny sky. You all pass. The boys smirked. Sakura was on the brink of tears. Team 7 begins its first mission tomorrow. Naruto's apartment. Naruto arrived home and quickly went to bed. It was a long day. After the Genin exam, they were forced into so many things, via Kakashi. In his dreams, Naruto found himself in a damp sewer, walking, just walking. This sewer was like a labyrinth. It seems like he'd been walking for hours. He eventually came upon a giant door. They opened for him, as if they were waiting for him, and he made his way through. He found a gigantic jail cell, with a paper with the kanji for seal on it. Come closer, child. Naruto did as commanded. He saw through the bars and pair of red slit-like eyes, and sharp pointy teeth. Suddenly a clawed paw went through the bars, stopping only an inch from the boy's face. Naruto didn't move an inch. I like you, brat, said the beast with a foxy smile. Naruto smiled back at him. I wish I could say the feeling was reciprocated. Where the hell's the exit? Wait, don't you want to know who I am? Naruto, for the first time in a while, wasn't smiling. Instead, he had a look of pure uninterest and boredom. Duh, how many other evil demons are living? for free, in my stomach. Evil. I resent that. You killed hundreds of people. Thousands, muttered the demon. Huh, nothing. You humans, everything is black and white to you. You never bother to get my opinion, my side of the story. Where's the exit? Don't you even care? This involves you, just as much as it involves me. You're not going to tell me how to get out of here until I hear your story, are you? No. Then speak. Better. I'll show you, he said, gesturing the wall on Naruto's right. It started to flash a bit, then showed a picture, like a movie theater screen. It was a bright sunny day, birds were chirping, deer were playing, but who cares? In a wide open field lied the Kyuubi. The fox was on his back, being fed grapes, which proportion-wise, were way too small to be of any use, by a few beautiful women wearing kimonos. There were a lot more women on his chest, nuzzling and cuddling up to the Demon King. Some of the women were only in their underwear, while pressing up against the demon. They were muttering stuff like, "Oh Kyuubi-sama, I want to have your children," and a variety of other related topics. The scene went on for a while long when suddenly a man walked up to Kyuubi, and the woman, "Oh great Kyuubi no Kitsune, please sacrifice me in your honor," he started bowing. "Yes, if it is your wish I will sacrifice you," said the Kyuubi. The man started dancing in happiness. Kyuubi raised one of his tails, touched the man with it, the man burst into flames. The girls started cheering, muttering phrases like, "Oh, how lucky," and, "Oh, noble Lord Kyuubi." Seeing the Kyuubi's noble act caused people to start flocking from the nearby village, Konohagakure. Many people asked for the same thing the man asked of Kyuubi, and many more people burst into flames. There were still hundreds of people waiting for Kyuubi's blessing, when suddenly, "That is enough." Everyone turned, in horror, to see him. He had wild blonde hair, evil blue eyes, was wearing a black robes. "The sacrifices will stop," said the man as he slammed his foot to the ground, creating a mild earthquake which knocked some of the villagers down. A woman waiting to be sacrificed went up to the man, "But, Lord Hokage, please for once be reasonable." The Hokage was about to reply when he noticed something. A fly was buzzing around his head. He opened his mouth, and a tongue launched itself from the opening, grabbing the fly, then retreating back. The Hokage then chewed and swallowed, much to the people's horror. He then looked at the woman and backhanded her, "The sacrifices will stop today. My word is law, for I am." He got into a very silly stance, the fourth Hokage. He pointed to the people waiting for be sacrificed. "Return home and get ready. Today is the day that the Kyuubi dies," the people gasped. The girls that were on top of the beast started crying, "Lord Hokage, please. Shut up. Go home and tell your fathers that you need to be beaten. And those of you WHO or ninja, have 5 minutes to be back out here in full uniform." With that, the girls got off of the monster and left, crying their eyes out. "Arashi, I can understand why you would be upset. If it upsets you so much, I will happily leave Konohagakure, and never return." "Absolutely not. Today you will die." With that, the yellow flash, flashed away. "Yay. Lord Kyuubi," cried the remaining people as they jumped on the giant demon, hugging him. The Kyuubi returned the hug. "This cannot be. I will allow myself to die, so you all may live." "No, Lord Kyuubi," chorused the crowd. "Please destroy our whole village in your name." "As you wish." The battle raged on for hours. Kyuubi, nobly, killing the people who came against it. No one could kill the Kyuubi. It was just too powerful, until finally Arashi got an idea. "I'll use Shikifuin to seal the Kyuubi within a small child. Since I'm such an ass, I'll use my own little boy," mused the cage. Sarutobi looked worried. "But Arashi-kun, couldn't we just use Shikifuin, without the needless sacrifice?" "Yes, but then it wouldn't be any fun," he said as he grabbed his baby boy. "You," pointing to all the people, "are to hate this boy and treat him like crap." I will sacrifice myself nobly and forever remain cool, the ninjas sadly nodded. So it happened, the Kyuubi was sealed inside of the crying baby boy, the Yondaime died. The screen faded, and that's pretty much what happened. Naruto turned to the Kyuubi. He still looked uninterested, now he had a raised eyebrow. What? That's what happened. I'll find my own way out, maybe if I'm lucky I'll get lost and die. Wait, alright, maybe I exaggerated a little. A little. Anyway, ignoring his accusation, I brought you here to speak to you, I'm here to help you. How could you possibly benefit me? I have knowledge, I was originally just waiting around for you to die, so I can finally be free to go to the afterlife, but after you gained that wood trick, I figured this might be more fun. Why should I trust you? That's for you to figure out, now do you want to talk? Naruto thought for a moment, I'll listen, with the exception of the third and Iruka. This guy is the only one who's ever treated me nice. Disregarding the fact that I've only known him for about 5 minutes, it still may be interesting to listen to him. Well, in the vast forest of Konohagakure stood a cat, not just any cat, this cat belonged to the wife of one of the most important lords of Fire Country. It had run away, for the third time for the fourth time this week, and it was only Thursday. Every now and then, the cat had to get away from that crazy hugging lady, and recently, for one reason or another, security had been ignoring the fleeing animal, causing the woman to hire nins from Konohagakure to find it. The cat didn't mind though, it received a few hours of peace and quiet, a ninja team would show up to rescue it, then it would return home for a nice meal, and a warm bed. Most recently, the ones coming to pick up the cat recently consisted of this pretty pink-haired girl, who loved to cuddle him against her chest, something that he didn't mind, a brooding boy, who looked like he had a stick up his ass, and some idiot that never stops smiling. The cat yawned as he lay on the forest floor. That's when it happened. He heard something jump out of the trees behind him. He quickly jumped to his feet, turning around, to see a large root coming at him. The cat's eyes widened as he turned to run away, it didn't get far. The root wrapped itself around the cat, holding on to him by the back legs and tail, and lifted it up. The cat hissed and scratched at the piece of wood that was holding it. But nothing it did would make the appendage let him go. Finally the cat noticed something out of the corner of his eye. He stops fighting, letting himself just hang, and sees the idiot that never stops smiling. The boy was wearing an orange, sleeveless jacket, that was left opened, showing his black shirt, orange pants, a blade strapped to his back, and an odd object on his right wrist that looks like a Christmas wreath, with leaves shaped like regular leaves instead of being shaped like needles. That cat noticed the wide smile on the boy's face, and cringed. Finally the cat noticed something that almost made him wet himself, a kunai was in the boy's left hand, meow. He can hear the boy snickering to himself as he slowly raises the kunai. Naruto. Naruto sighs and puts away his kunai, just as a pink blur comes in and snatches the cat from the root. The cat clutches onto Sakura, holding onto her for dear life, inadvertently clawing the poor girl. Naruto, what the hell do you think you're doing? This is an innocent animal. The innocent animal, which had his head buried in Sakura's chest, took a second to look up at the boy. The smile he was receiving nearly caused him to soil himself, and Sakura. Sasuke exits the forest, meeting the other 3 if you count the cat, in the clearing. Sakura, being the only one wearing a headset, decides to report in. We found the cat, Kakashi-sensei, we're coming back. They were answered with a perverted giggle. Sakura growled and walked off. Naruto was about to walk off as well, but a hand on his shoulder stopped him. Next time we have to find that stupid cat, I'll stall Sakura, while you check whether it's still alive. Sasuke said with a smirk. Naruto's smile widened. Hokage Tower. Oh my precious kitty. The lord's wife clutched onto the cat as hard as she could. Oddly enough, the cat seemed to be hugging her back, weird. The lady left, leaving Team 7 alone with the mission assignment committee. The Hokage, Iruka, a few other teachers that Naruto didn't bother remembering, and a few Anbu. Good job on once again retrieving the cat. Let's see, another mission, farming potatoes, babysitting the Lord's grandson, the Hokage started. No, 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 screamed the pink-hair ninja. This caused the Hokage to pause and look up at her. We've had enough of these stupid missions. Can't you for once give us something decent to do? Sasuke and Naruto both nodded. Kakashi mentally groaned. They were bound to complain sooner or later. Iruka stood up, slamming his hands to the table. That's enough out of you. A gesture from the third stopped him. The Hokage sighed. I think I need to explain the mission rankings once again. You see, there are 5 types of mission rankings. The Hokage started speaking about the mission rankings, but he was, unknowingly, ignored. Hey Kakashi-sensei, what's the big deal about that book you're always reading? Asked Sakura. Kakashi went into a long, detailed explanation on why the Ika Ika series are works of genius. After the Hokage was done explaining about mission rankings, is about the time he noticed that no one was listening to him. Hey, are any of you listening to me? Kakashi looked up from Sakura and Sasuke's stunned faces. I'm sorry, were you saying something? The Hokage growled slightly. Hey old man, the Hokage looked up to see Naruto. Would you just give us a decent mission? I need a chance to test how far I've come before the exams. The Hokage resisted the urge to frown. The truth was Naruto wanted to train so he can gain the rank of Chunin, so he could leave. The third, inadvertently, glanced at a picture of the fourth, at the side of the room, which went unnoticed by everyone but Kakashi and Naruto, or perhaps the others just didn't see anything odd about it. I suppose something can be set up. Hokage-sama. We can't hold these children back forever. Iruka. Sarutobi gestured to an Anbu at the door. Send in Tazuna. The Anbu nodded and left the room. He came back about a minute later with an old man. The old man stood right in front of the door. My name is Tazuna, the bridge builder. I expect you to protect me while I finish the bridge that will connect my country to the mainland. He took a moment to look at the ninja in front of him and frowned. This is the team that will be protecting me. They don't look that tough to me, especially that short one with the stupid grin on his face. He was cut off when a kunai, a thrown kunai, implanted itself into the door, about half an inch under the man's crotch, causing all the men in the room to cringe slightly. Naruto! Yelled the pink-haired kunoichi. Naruto turned to her with a smile. Don't know why you're yelling at me for. I'm pretty sure that's one of your kunai. Sakura's eyes widened as she went to check her kunai pouch. She was missing one. Son of a bitch, I swear you. Sometimes you act like nothing more than a demon. This caused all the adults to shudder. Kakashi chose this moment to step in. That's enough. Maybe I am, replied the kitsune, cutting Kakashi off, smiling widely, as if he had just received the biggest compliment in the world. The adults cringed again. Sakura cringed at the boy's smile. Meet at the west gate in an hour, said the Hokage, holding his head. Naruto made to leave. He reached the door. With the terrified bridge builder pressed to it, Naruto reached down and pulled the kunai out of the door, and flipped it over to Sakura, which she caught. May I pass? Tazuna nodded. Still scared shitless, he moved out of the way, allowing Naruto to walk out the door, followed by the rest of Team 7. On the streets, Naruto was walking down the street with many thoughts running through his mind, though no one would be able to tell that. Naruto continued to walk down the village, feeling a slight pang of regret for scaring Tazuna. Though the old man did insult him, he shouldn't have lost his temper. It wasn't a thing that ninjas should do. Even if Naruto had no real desire to be a ninja, he sighed. The villagers treated him like a demon, so he didn't care what they thought about him, but he didn't want people outside of the village to start seeing him that way. It would make traveling pointless. He decided to take a shortcut, through a dark alley. Naruto walked through the alley ignoring the 5 men that were stumbling down it. One of the slightly bumped into Naruto. The boy went on his merry way, not even caring. The man, however. Hey, what the hell's SSU aus DOOOOIN? Demun ba a starred. He was slurring his words, obviously drunk. Naruto ignored him. Who the hell do you think that you are? Said one of the other men, though not slurring as badly, still obviously drunk. Naruto sighed. It was going to be one of those days. He slowly turned, in time to see the man who bumped into him throw a punch. He was slow, obviously just a civilian. Naruto opted to let himself be hit, like always. Though he wasn't a ninja, he was still pretty strong, strong enough to knock Naruto off his feet. This seemed to trigger something in Naruto's mind. He remembered every dirty look he ever received. One of the men picked him up and slammed him against the wall. Every time he received a beating seemed to flash through his eyes. Another man kicked him while he was down. He saw every time he was ever shunned away from the children his age. He was lifted off the ground again, this time by his collar. This man pulled out a kunai. He saw his father using him as a sacrifice, his mother leaving him to rot, his sister having a happy life, while he was stuck in this living hell. Naruto anger flared. He kicked the man in the stomach. The man keeled over, clutching his stomach, dropping Naruto at the same time. The men glared at the boy and were about to charge. That's when Naruto held out his right arm, the one with the strange plant wrapped around his wrist, pointing it at the man who first bumped into him. Hayashi Shushuku, forest constriction. The plant glowed green, before 3 vines extended from it. These vines were covered with leaves. Thorns started to sprout from them as well. The vines wrapped themselves around the man's right arm, ensnaring it and slamming him against the wall, holding him 3 feet off the ground. The drunken men could only stare at their friend, who was screaming at having the thorns pierce his arm. He tried to yank the plant off of him with his other hand, but only succeeded to have his hand pierced by the sharp objects. He continued to scream and thrash in pain as blood seeped down his right arm and left hand. Flashback. Naruto was currently standing in the Konohagakure forest. He had been looking for this plant for hours and he had finally found it, the Tasuki Konoha, moon leaf. According to the Kyuubi, this plant was very susceptible to chakra. The plant itself had the potential to grow very tall, but it lacked the ability to absorb water and sunlight well. Without the proper nutrients, it was nothing more than a plant with many leaves, a weed to many others. A normal person's chakra wouldn't be able to affect the plant, but because Naruto's chakra was so potent, making him able to create and alter plants, he would be able to use this plant as a weapon very easily. Just think about what'll happen if you mix it with my chakra. Naruto sighed when he heard the demon's voice in his head. A while ago the Kyuubi told him that he would be able to alter plants much more drastically by mixing in a little of his own chakra. The demon's chakra, being much more potent than the boy's own, would alter the plants into a much darker form. So the demon offered Naruto some of its own chakra to use whenever the boy willed. It wasn't a lot, considering how strong the demon truly was. It was only about 1/10 of the boy's own amount of chakra, though it was considerable. Taking into account the boy's large chakra supply, the demon probably still had about 100 times more chakra than Naruto had. The problem was that, since Naruto was the jailer, they both had to will the demonic chakra into Naruto's reserves, though it was still separate from Naruto's own chakra. That was when the Kyuubi fooled Naruto. He was able to open a link between the two, which allowed the Kyuubi to communicate with Naruto anytime he desired. To say Naruto was pissed would be an understatement. End flashback. The men continued to stare in horror before screaming and running off. The ensnared man looked at the boy in front of him. His sweaty blonde locks were currently hiding his blue eyes. Finally the boy looked up at the man. Naruto smiled at the man. Nothing but scum, all of them, he thought to himself, thinking about the men that ran away leaving their friend. His smile widened as he used his chakra to tighten the grip on the man's arm. The man screamed loudly and Naruto smiled wider. So I guess about now, I'm pretty much the lord, demon bastard, of the whole world. The man sniffled a bit at the statement. He couldn't understand it. Naruto never fought back, he just let himself get beaten constantly. He never cried, he never looked upset, he never even lost that damn smile. By the time he fainted, the boy fainted from the pain. Naruto watched the man cower for a bit longer. He was about to tighten the hold on the man. Suddenly a few kunai came down and cut the vines, letting the man drop to the ground. The pieces receded back into Naruto's Tasuki Konoha, becoming nothing but a normal-looking leaf wristband. That's enough, Naruto. Cough cough, though you were in the right to defend yourself, you were taking it much too far. Naruto recognized both voices, one belonged to Genma Shiranui, the second to Gekko Hayate. Naruto smiled at the two and walked away. He paused for a moment to look at the man. Oh, and you're drunk at 11 o'clock in the morning, have some damn self-control. He exited the alley. Genma stared off in the direction the boy left in. Wonder if I can pick up that smiling trick from him. Seems to effectively freak the shit out of people. Genma turned back to the man on the floor. He was clutching his wrist, with his bleeding hand, and was still crying in pain. He's already suffered enough. However, I will tell the Hokage about the other four. That should be fun. I'll take this man to the hospital. Genma walked over to the man, picked him up, and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Gekko looked off in the direction that Naruto came from. Wonder what did she think about this Naruto? Flashback, continuation from Chapter 2. The two children looked up at each other. One had golden hair with blue eyes. The other had silver hair with red eyes. The girl looked at the boy, still frightened slightly. Mistress. Three men came from behind the girl, each of them pulling katanas out and pointing them at the boy. In an instant the Hokage, who had been watching the whole event, stood between Naruto and the armed men. A second later 4 Anbu stood behind the Hokage. Oh, calm down you three. The voice came from an old man standing a small ways behind the 3 men and 1 girl. The old man had gray hair, no beard, and ceremonial blue robes on. He had 4 other armed men, though their katanas were sheathed, with him. It was an honest mistake. Sarutobi smiled. Yoko, my friend, it's been far too long. Yoko blinked and then smiled. Sarutobi. How are you doing, old friend? Fine, fine. He turned to the little girl in front of him. As this Rei? She's grown since the last time I saw her. She sure has. Yoko-sama. Rei Heim, said one of the Anbu while bowing. Yoko blinked again. Is that you, Gekko? The Anbu nodded. Well then, how are you doing? Naruto watched the whole exchange take place. He was curious on how the Hokage knew this man. He was also curious on how Gekko knew this man. Suddenly the back of his shirt was tugged and he was pulled backwards. He saw it was Yamato pulling him back, kneeling next to him. Since you're with us, you should probably know, Yoko, Rei, Gekko, and these men, indicating the men that were with Yoko, and the ones who were with Rei, who finally sheathed their swords, belong to the Hayate clan, a clan that specializes in kenjutsu, sword technique. Though they live in Fire Country, they don't belong to Konohagakure, or any other ninja village for that matter. However, a few of their warriors, like Gekko, leave home at a very young age to become ninja for Konohagakure. He waited a moment for the information to settle into Naruto. The Hayate clan live in another village, in Fire Country. It's one of the only clans that the Shodaime, the first Hokage, failed in uniting with others to create Konohagakure. Sarutobi has been trying to recruit them for years, and over the years he acquired a friendship with Yoko, the former clan head of the Hayate clan, and Kazuma, the current leader of the clan. Yoko is Kazuma's father, and Kazuma is Rei's father. He again paused for a moment. She's the second child of Kazuma. Naruto nodded and Yamato stood back up. Rei, who had finally gotten off the ground when her grandfather started speaking, walked over to Naruto. She stared at him for a while. She smiled widely at him. "Hi, my name is Rei." "My name is Naruto," replied the blonde, though it sounded like more of a squeak. Rei's smile widened. "I like your cheeks, the whisker marks make you look like a kitty, or maybe a fox," said the little girl with a laugh, though her last statement made the adults, from Konoha, cringe slightly, though Naruto blushed. End flashback. Gecko sighed. In truth, he felt nothing but sympathy for the boy, as did a good portion of ninja. However, the villagers and over half the ninjas in the village felt that the boy was a plague. Gecko thought about what Naruto just did. He couldn't blame the boy, but he knew that things will become much harder for the fox child. Kakashi's house. Kakashi exited his large house. He noticed an Anbu appear right in front of him. The Anbu, obviously a woman, had a hawk mask. "Hello, Rin," Kakashi said with a smile. "Hello, Kakashi. Are you busy?" "C-rank mission," was his only reply. C-rank missions meant leaving the village. Oh. Rin took off her mask to reveal her slightly depressed green eyes and the red marks on her cheeks. Her brown hair fell to about her neck. "How's he doing?" Kakashi sighed. "I ask myself all the time if things would be different, if Sensei was still alive." Kakashi smiled. "Sometimes I wonder if he would have taken Naruto out of the village, when he saw the treatment the boy received, then we'd be the ones to have the most powerful ninja against us, fools." Rin frowned. If they knew the truth about his parents, he would probably be treated better. But then he'd have to deal with assassins all the time. Kakashi nodded. "Want to come visit the Stone of Heroes with me? Sensei and Obito may be getting lonely." Rin smiled and nodded. "Naruto's house. You should have added my chakra to that, it would have worked better." Naruto ignored the question. He honestly didn't care. He knew that he got his point across to the man, though Naruto was curious on how the demon's chakra would affect his wristband. Flashback. Team 7 were training. Sakura was in one area, punching a dummy. Sasuke was over in another area practicing his Kaiden jutsus. Naruto was sitting in a meditative stance practicing his Mokuden jutsus. Sakura was secretly jealous of both boys, having each a special element. She inwardly thought about pursuing her own, specializing in her own jutsu. Naruto, not noticing Kakashi creeping up behind him, released his hold on the plant that he was currently moving. He had been practicing directing the plants, using his chakra, for about an hour now. He decided to finally try out what the Kyuubi suggested, mutating plants. He reached for that small storage of demonic chakra that he possessed, and pulled on a bit of it. He mixed it with his own chakra, and did the necessary hand seals for Mokuden Haijutsu, Jukai Koden. Like always, the plant sprouted from the ground. This one was different though. First off, the size was amazing, considering that he didn't use too much of his own chakra. It was about 10 feet tall. Half a foot in diameter, except for the strange bud on the top. It was an oval shape, about a foot in diameter. Finally, unlike its other plants, this plant was not brown or green, this one was a sickly pale purple color. Naruto, who was now standing, could only stare at the plant. Sakura and Sasuke were now looking at the demonic plant as well. Kakashi, who was holding his book and came to stand next to Naruto, was also staring at the thing before him. "Idiot. Stop gawking. Don't lose control of that thing." Naruto was too late. The bud opened to reveal huge sets of fangs. The plant before him looked like a snake, sans the eyes. It snapped its fangs opened and closed a few times, as if to test them, before snapping in the direction of Naruto and Kakashi. Naruto quickly and easily jumped away to a safe distance. However, Kakashi's Chunin skills made him a bit overconfident. He jumped away about a second after Naruto did. What Kakashi didn't expect was for the plant's jaws to close around his book, tearing the manuscript out of the Chunin's hands. The Chunin landed right next to Naruto. The Chunin clenched his fist together and growled. The plant snapped his head up and back, throwing the book into the air, and catching it again in its opened maw. Kakashi's eyes widened. That was his limited edition issue of Ika Ika Paradise, the one signed by the author. He sent a wave of killer intent at the plant, which seemed to freeze everyone in a mile radius. Kakashi pulled out a kunai. He jumped at the plant, roaring a war cry as he went to go save his book. End flashback. Kakashi tore the plant apart in search of his book. He eventually found it, though it was completely covered in plant guts, which made it almost unreadable. So, after the funeral, to the book, which Team 7 was forced to attend, Kakashi bought a new book. The fox explained that the demonic plant, no longer being able to gain food from photosynthesis, was forced to find food in another method, eating. After that incident, Naruto hadn't tried adding the demon's chakra to his technique again, though he secretly wondered what it would be like to use it on a certain Mokuden skill that he recently received. Naruto finished packing and left his house. West Gate. Naruto noticed that Sakura and Tazuna were both there. He noticed Tazuna stiffen again. He walked over to the man. I wanted to apologize for losing my temper with you earlier. Tazuna and Sakura were both taken back by this. Tazuna nodded though, it's alright, I probably shouldn't have provoked you. Tazuna seemed to calm down significantly. Naruto nodded and went to lean against the gate. A few minutes later Sasuke showed up, ignoring Sakura who asked him for a date. A few minutes after that, Kakashi showed up. Alright, let's go, said Kakashi. On the road, again. The group of 5 was on the road, again. Kakashi was reading. Sasuke was brooding. Sakura was thinking of a way to get Sasuke to go out with her. Tazuna was thinking. Naruto was still thinking about how Kyuubi's chakra would affect plants. Tazuna and the children didn't even concern themselves with the puddle that was on the ground, but Kakashi did. It hadn't rained in weeks. Once the group had passed the puddle, 2 figures rose out of it. Each had a clawed gauntlet. They were both attached with a chain. They both lunged themselves at Kakashi, wrapping their sharp chains around the Chunin. They then proceeded to rip him to pieces. Sakura and Tazuna were horrified at what they saw. Naruto had his back turned to the whole event. He was busy staring off at something he thought he saw in the trees. The demon brothers lunged themselves at Naruto. That was when Sasuke jumped into action. He threw a shuriken the chain, catching one of the chain links and sticking it into a nearby tree. He then jumped into the air, hurling one of his kunai and the shuriken, to lock the chain in place. He landed, with each foot on one of the gauntlets, and then punched both of the demon brothers. The demon brothers then discarded their gauntlets. They rushed past Naruto, who was still staring off into the forest, and lunged themselves at Tazuna and Sakura. That's when Naruto decided to move. He did the hand seals for Mokuden Haijutsu, Jukai Koden, but called out a different attack, Mokuden Haijutsu. Shokubutsu Funky no Jutsu would release secret technique, plant decapitation technique. A plant shot out of the ground and dragged one of the, unaware, demon brothers under. The other demon brother paused to look at his ally, who was dragged up to his head underground. He then held out his right arm. Hayashi Shushuku, vines shot out of the plant on Naruto's wrist, growing thorns at the same time. They wrapped themselves around the distracted man's right arm. The man grunted from the pain. Kakashi appeared right in front of the man. You've just been poisoned, courtesy of Naruto there. Kakashi lied, honestly knowing nothing about this odd move Naruto just did, gesturing to Naruto. You have only a few minutes to live. If you tell me what I want to know, I'll give you the antidote. The man was scared shitless, so he quickly complied. Telling the ninjas everything, about being hired by Gato, about Zabuza, the demon of the hidden mist. To say that Kakashi was angered would be an understatement. He quickly knocked both men out, after telling them that he was lying about the poison. After digging the first brother out, He tied them both up and sent a message to Konoha, to come collect them. We need to talk. Tazuna grimaced. A few hours later, the group had just finished having dinner and were standing in a clearing. Tomorrow they would get on the ferry to Wave Country. Although Tazuna lied about the mission parameters, the group still agreed to go with him. Kakashi looked up at the sky. He noticed that it was about to rain. He picked a scroll out of one of his pockets. He cut his thumb and smeared the blood on the scroll. He started doing hand seals. After he finished 12 dogs, all wearing Konoha heats, appeared. Kakashi nodded at them. They all ran off in different directions. They'll keep guard. Set up your tents. Naruto grimaced slightly as the others started setting up their tents. He had forgotten to pack his tent. That's when an idea formed in Naruto's mind. It was a rather big clearing. He started doing hand seals. He never has actually performed this jutsu, though he constantly practiced the hand seals. Mokuden, Shichuka no Jutsu, would release. 4 pillars house technique. Many roots started coming from the ground. They started growing and twisting together. It took them about a minute to finish. By the time it did, Naruto was on top of a fully formed house. It looked like a 2-story, old Japanese style, inn. The other 4 gawked at the building that just materialized out of the ground. Naruto was panting pretty hard. Damn, for a non-combat jutsu, it sure takes a lot of chakra. After he caught his breath, Naruto jumped down, right next to Kakashi, still smiling. Sensei, I forgot to pack my tent, so if you don't mind, I'll just camp out in there. Wouldn't really call that camping, muttered Sakura. She then glanced back at her small tent. Hey Naruto, I forgot my tent too. Mind if I use one of the rooms? She lied, assuming that the building had multiple rooms. Kakashi smiled at her. Isn't that your tent over there? Pointing at the tent that she put up. Sakura smiled nervously. No. Whatever, muttered Naruto. Anyone else forget to bring their tent? Naruto asked as he walked into the building. It started drizzling outside, so Sakura grabbed her bag, leaving the tent that wasn't hers and walked inside the inn-sized building. Kakashi shrugged and walked inside. Sasuke was thinking, not really how I planned my first time outside the village to be. He shrugged though, figuring might as well be comfortable while sleeping. Tazuna was still gawking. Who the hell are these guys?